Hiya, so welcome back. What we're going to do now that we've got the lower lip main control group, we're going to do the same with the top one. I'm going to group that one and then center is pivot. To avoid double transformation, so when we actually rotate the jaw and the head obviously, when we rotate the jaw we want these controls to follow the jaw control, but then again we also got these locators that are actually floating there. So what we need to do, we need to kind of think these guys as like joints that are manipulating the skin. So what we need to do, we need to select those three locators of the lower lip, and then I'm going to group it to itself, Control G. We call this lower lip lock group, and I'm going to center their pivot as in the group's pivot. So that's those are the locators, and I want to make the locators the child of the lower lip locators the child of the jaw joint. In other words, the locator group, and then shift select the jaw joint, and then we press P, and the control group, the lower lip main control group, which houses these three controls and the main control, they're going to be the child of the jaw control. So controls are under the controls, locators are under the joints, apart from the mouth wide locators. We've got something else for them. So let's do the same for the top. Select all those three locators, Control G. Oops. Upper lip lock GRP. Center the pivot, and we're going to make those locators the child of the head joint. And the upper lip main control group is going to be the child of the head control. Remember, controls are under controls in this case. What we're left with we're going to delete that empty node. Here we go. I think it's all there. We can test it. We can also test the jaw. Yeah, the three bottom controls and their locators, they're following it. And then we can test the head as well. And we can also test the individual ones. Okay, brilliant. Right, now the the problem we have here is that we want this control, its position to be shared between the head joint and the jaw joint. So when we open the jaw, we want this control to come down with it to a certain extent, but 50%, you know, between the head and between the jaw. With the setup that we have right now, it's not going to work, purely because, you know, we didn't anticipate that, you know, this control doesn't have an uber control. It doesn't need something like that for this scenario. So the reason why we had locators here was because of that. You know, we wanted to have at least two layers of controls on top of it. So what is the solution? Well, we can go back and, you know, get rid of these locators and simply use these controls to drive those remaps, we can do that. That's one solution. The other solution, we can just carry on from this point. What we can do, we can steal the shape node of these locators and replace them with the circles, with the circular shapes. First of all, let's make sure we don't have any constraints on these locators. So let's delete them. And we can do the same for this one. That's it. And I want to take them out of their groups. So the right lip wide control lock, I'm gonna just unparent it, delete its group, and I like to do the same with controls. And delete those empty groups. So the problem is, because we've taken the locator out of the group, we no longer have that functionality of, you know, moving them together. This one is this locator is doing the opposing action. You can see if we can take it back to scale Z. No, it's not going to do it. So what we need to do, just quickly reverse the remap, which is simple. So we can go to Node Editor, open a tab whilst that locator is selected, and just output the connections. And we just look for one of the remaps, which was to do with the translate X. Yeah, it's this one. And instead of that translation of 1.5, we'll just put minus 1.5 there. So that should give us what we want in that sense. That's it. So we achieved that. The next thing is now oops. Now we're going to take over the shape node of these locators. And the trick is that obviously you got to make sure your mal command is open. If not, just make sure you go to Windows Workspace and just go to Maya Standard, change your workspace until you see this command line. If not, you have to go to your preferences and reset your settings. Just simply reset it or restore to default until you find that that command line. So we need that. So this is how it goes. Every object in Maya has got a transform node and a shape node. So this is the transform node, which has got all its translation values. If you go to display shapes in your outliner, you can see it's almost like a hierarchy, and you can see that the shape node is there, and this is the transform. So if I select the shape node of the circular control, do not confuse it with groups. They're not groups, as you can see. So if I select the shape group and then control click on the locator, just the name of the locator, I don't have to click on its shape. And if we type this command, parent -s -r, in our mal command, press enter. I'm just going to deselect. What happens now, without any of that constraint or anything, you know, if you just select your circle, you actually end up selecting the shape of your of the locator. Now if I just turn it off, and I'm just going to delete that empty node that was left over, the garbage node, you see you can select the the circle here, but it doesn't exist in the outliner. So what happened, we actually use this circle to be a shape, the shape node of that locator. So now the circle does what we want. Okay, so we're going to do the same here. So let's turn on the shapes in the outliner. We select the shape node of the circle, control click on the locator in the outliner, not the locator's shape, just the locator itself at the top. And then if you press the up arrow on your keypad, it will bring your command back, and then if you press enter, that's it. And this garbage left over null or blank node, we can just delete that. And then turn off the shapes. You don't want to have this on, otherwise your outliner becomes quite cluttered and you will get confused. And that's it. We've done that. Right, you might be questioning, why the hell we're going through this? Well, and you no longer see the names of your controllers here. It's the name of the locators. It doesn't matter. We can call this left lip. What was it? Wide up down underscore CTRL. This becomes a control now, and the other one is the right. That's it. And this is good because now we can do that thing of getting these controls to follow the jaw and the head. So if I select this one, the left lip wide up and down control, group it to itself. I'm gonna just center the pivot. That's cool. And I'll do the same on this one. I tend to copy their names and then group. And then I'm going to center pivot. Brilliant. So what I want to do for the left, and it's the same for the right as well, so what I like to do is just select the head joint, shift select the jaw, and then in the outliner I can control click on the left lip wide up and down control group and go to constrain parent. In my case it's maintain offset. I'm just going to reset the settings. Here we go, and apply. And I'll do the same with the other one. So let's try it, see what we get. Yeah, so our controls are coming down. That's good. It's brilliant. So that's done, and what we can do now, treat them like our usual controls that we've been doing so far. These guys are now almost like the hand control. They're out there. We can select those two, and in our rig group we can put them under our controls group somewhere around here. And we can test it again, and I'll save this file. Okay. And whilst we're at this, I know it's 14 minutes so far, but let's wrap up the cheeks as well. So if we bring our sculpting and blend shapes, or the shapes, I'm just going to collapse these. So we had This one. We had the right. That's it. I don't need the base anymore, but that was just for me to get the blend shapes for both sides and then all the rest. Here we go. Right, so we've got these. So what I want to do is we can create a control for that. And I want to find out where is the center point. I think it's somewhere around here. Let me just turn off those joints quickly and then we can carry on. So yeah, somewhere around there. So I want to just snap it to that point. I'm going to rotate it. And I'll just duplicate this and take it to the other side. And I'll just, I think, yeah, I think we're okay. So what I like to do, I just want to mirror it properly. What I want to do is just freeze the transformation on these ones. Modify freeze transformation and delete the history. That's it. So let's go to our node editor quickly and then we'll do that. So this one is the, actually I got the wrong one. Here we go. Let's start with the left. This one is the left pucker or cheek puff control. Yeah, we don't need this shape in here, so that's that. And also I need to find our blend shapes. We can find it because I've got the tabs open. Here we go. Select it and we'll bring that in there as well. Translate X to a remap. Actually, we need to rename that left cheek puff out because you might have the in as well. So let's just go back. That's it. So the out value is the left cheek puff out. And now we have to think about how far we're going to move that object. So 1 to 1 will have that. Yeah, 1 to 1 will be fine. So that's that one. And let's do the other one whilst we are here. That's the right side. I'm going to just copy this name and replace it with right. And we'll duplicate that remap, we'll use it. So translate X of the right cheek path input value. The out value is going to go to right cheek path out blend shape. So we need to reverse the values. So in this case, input maximum is going to be -1. Alright, we've got a problem there. Well, it's not a problem as such. I wanted to get that thing that I want to do of those two moving together. So I'm just going to unhook that and possibly reverse this. Excuse me. See whether we can get that motion that we wanted. Yeah. So now I can go back yeah, that's nice. Okay, we've got those two controls, and what we can do also, which is something that I forgot, we can go back to our blend shapes, and under the cheek groups we can add a blend shape. This one is left cheek path in. Actually, I'm gonna do it for both sides first and then delete one side and duplicate it. So it's okay, the naming is wrong for now, but we can select just a point around here, and I'm just going to increase the fall off on my selection, see what we can get. Something like this, and I'm going to turn on the symmetry. Whilst it's in edit mode, we're just going to push this in, but I want to hold this bone there, the zygomatic bone. I don't want it to be rubbery there. Very important that we don't lose that. Maybe I could start actually from here. I don't want to affect the bone too much. You can test it yourself, you know, when you do something like that. Let's say okay, something like this. So now that we've got it, we can can delete 1/2. I'm just going to turn off the curves. So let's go to our eraser tool, turn off the symmetry, and I'll delete I want to make sure it's set to volume. That's good. And I want to delete this part. In other words, I want to erase it. I want to erase the effect of the blend shape. And you can always test it. There's something there. You know, in human skin, it's not this straightforward. Everything is interconnected, and you know, you've got sliding skin and everything. I'm just being quick, but you can actually, you know, use this smooth tool to ever so slightly affect certain areas, and you know, that's it. So now I'm gonna duplicate this, Control D, flip it, and call this one right. Cheek puff in. That's it. So going back to our control, and I know that you've already guessed what I'm going to do next. Because I've flipped this, the direction of the shape changed, so I'm just going to fix this at vertex mode. So don't worry about that one. Anyway, so going back to what we have there, we can go to our node editor. Start from the, as usual, from the left one. Okay, so the left cheek puff control, translate X, obviously. We're going to duplicate the existing remap. We're going to utilize that, and we're going to bring the translate X into input value, and the out value is going to go to left cheek puff in, and obviously we're going to change our settings. So input maximum this time will be -1. So let's see. Maybe we'll, just for the sake of clarity, we're going to do it -2 so that the animator can get a nice feedback. Yeah, -2 inwards and 1 outwards, so it's fine. So let's do it for the other side. Alright, this is the right, and duplicate the remap, translate X into input value of the new remap, and then the out value into right cheek puff in. We're gonna do the same. Input maximum is going to be 2. We are doing reverse on that one. So that's good. So if we select those two, brilliant. What we can do now, we can select those two, Control G, excuse me, and then we can make them the child of the head joint. Cheek path CTRL GRP, center their pivot and make them the child of the head control. And it's good to test it, always test it. The hierarchies and things like that might not always work. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's functioning. I somehow brought them back. Here we go. So it's functioning. So the next thing to do is, save your file. Making sure we don't have any scale attributes, and I don't think rotate works for this one for now. You can lock and hide the scale. The same for these as well. I don't think scale works. It doesn't do anything, so we can lock and hide them. All the individual controls, we don't need their scale. And equally, as far as I know, for the individual controls, we don't get anything with the rotation either. Yeah, so we can lock and hide the rotations too. Let's see what these, yeah, it's the same. This one, the rotation does give us something. If you want to keep it, keep it. If you don't, then that's up to you. One final thing, I think for these we've done that. Yeah. One final thing I'd like to, well, for this part at least, I'd like to show you is that if you are worried that your animators might end up breaking your rig by pushing it too much, say if this one is going, I think it was 2 something, yeah, 2.5, and down was -3. If you remember those values, for example, you can limit those as well. You can actually just simply limit their range. For instance, it could be useful for this one because you will pull it up and it's too much. So you might just say a 3, maximum 3 up. Maximum 3 down, or maybe less than that. You can control that. Okay, so how do you limit controls? If you, let's do it on the cheek path here, for example. We go as far as 1 there, and it was minimum -2. So if you select your control and if you go to its attribute editor, and under its control, the actual transform. Remember we had the shape and the transform node. Under the transform node, if you go to limit information, you can actually limit the translation, for example. So the translate x for this guy for now will be -2 minimum and then maximum 1. That's it. Look what happens now. It doesn't go beyond these. It's locked almost. I can't push it. That's it. So we can do the same for this one, for example. We can say so minimum -2. Sorry, minimum was 2 because this is the reverse. Maximum was minimum was -1, I think. Maximum was 2. Let's see. Yeah, we're just doing the reverse of the other one. So you can limit your controls. You can make the decision whether it's rotation or translation. Or especially on this one, you might need it. Okay, we've got one last video left where I'm going to talk about tweaks and the tweaker setup and also the draw fix. I've already done my blend shape for the draw fix, that shape that I wanted, and I hooked it up with the rotation of the jaw joint with the remap. Historically, you know, traditionally people do it with set driven keys. I use remap, so it's fine. Yeah, so that's the next thing left, and that's it really. That's our facial setup. Now if your character, we're going to, when we talk about the tweak joints, the tweak controls with the nose, for example, and with the squint around these areas, it's a matter of choice whether you want to solve those with a blend shape or with what I'm going to do with a cluster of some sort. It's a matter of choice. We'll talk about that in our final video, so thank you for listening.